are an Imperial Irrigation District customer, you're asked to conserve energy during peak hours between 4 in the afternoon and 9 o'clock at night. Let's get a check on the forecast. Live pictures right here from our Agua Caliente casino camera high above in Rancho Mirage. You can still see the wind is in effect right now, and we're also under that extreme heat warning.
Yeah, very hot conditions for us the next couple of days. And I say we get cooler into the weekend, but I mean, not really. 114 for our Saturday. So just put up with it for another week or so. Hopefully mid-August will look a little bit cooler because it has definitely been a very hot start for us. As Mark mentioned, extreme heat warning through tomorrow. Those temperatures today, we did break a record from 1995, 119. I always joke, I don't really like breaking those records. That means it's just very hot. We didn't get to 120 though. So there you go, glass half full there. So extreme heat warning will go through tomorrow, as I mentioned just moments ago. Even though it ends on Friday, it does not mean we're going to get back to seasonal by the weekend. We are staying well above average through most of the weekend and into most of next week. On the topic of weather advisories, also want to mention we do have the air quality alert continuing until Saturday. It was going to end on Tuesday. It was supposed to expire then. We extended it to Wednesday. Now we're having it extend, until Saturday due to those fires that we are still tracking across Southern California. So just another reminder when you are outside as well of that air quality. Still hot conditions this evening in downtown Palm Springs. A little bit of improvement looks like at that Rancho Mirage cam, a little bit gusty for that area for Palm Springs. Lighter winds this evening than we saw earlier around the 5 and 6 o'clock hour. That'll remain consistent for us for the rest of the weekend. Here's a look at your Comfort Air 3-day forecast. So 114 for our Friday, like I mentioned, staying above average for the weekend into early next week. We'll break down more you can expect in that full forecast coming up.
New at 11 tonight, Congressman Raul Ruiz hosted an economic roundtable today. We have some video from that event, which included leaders from all over California's 25th congressional district. Ruiz was also joined by several chambers of commerce members. They discussed things like tariffs and trade policies affecting small businesses, wage and workforce pressures, and the concerns of rising operational costs. Here's more from the congressman.
There's a rising unemployment, that the costs are going up, there's stagnation in job growth, and all are signs of a weakening economy. And we have to come together to share our resources, our knowledge, educate, and find the capital in order to alleviate that.
The focus coming out of today's roundtable is to find the next step in building a more resilient local economy. A new California law limits how much an HOA can fine homeowners. In most cases, it's $100 per violation. Our Brett Rosen speaking with locals and also an HOA advisor.
Fines should not be the first step of any homeowner association. Usually it's, let's address it with a letter. You could talk to the homeowner. So fines are finally getting to the point where there's an obvious enforcement issue.
That's Holly Smith, the executive director of the Coachella Valley Community Associations Institute, a nonprofit organization that helps educate homeowner associations right here in the Coachella Valley. Smith says with this new maximum fine of $100, most HOA fine hearings could go towards a legal route, and that could take away money and time for what HOAs try to do.
In order to enforce these rules, instead of having the violation stepping up in, higher and higher, now you're going to cost more court cases, more actual legal proceedings, and it's going to take time and money away from the things that homeowners associations should be doing.
Some local residents who live in HOA communities say the new bill now helps protect homeowners from homeowner associations that overreach.
I think it'd be good to not hit them with $500 per violation or $1,000. And
people are struggling, and hopefully it'll get the message across that if you are violating, you get fined, but that the fine isn't out of control.
Other residents say they worry that the maximum fine of $100 is too little and that it would not deter homeowners from continuously breaking community rules.
If it's $100 per violation and that is kind of nothing to somebody, how long does a problem go on, and what other mechanisms does a board have to take some action?
Now, not every violation fine is capped at $100. There are health and safety exceptions to this new rule, which Smith says is too much of a gray area.
What is a health and safety issue? It's not barely defined in the bill. So there'll be a lot of legal challenges and there'll be a lot more cleanup of this bill to do.
For NBC Palm Springs, I'm Brett Rosen.
Our thanks to Brett for that report. A former Palm Springs resident who was killed on 9/11 was recently identified through forensic technology. Tiani Jadalang with that story.
I feel the same every time that date comes around. That's the first person I think of.
That's what Mary Arthun, the parish secretary at St. Teresa's Catholic Church in Palm Springs, has to say about Barbara Keating, a former resident of Palm Springs and at one time a volunteer at St. Teresa's.
She would be in our back room and she'd have all the binders laid out and she would be stuffing them for the next RCIA class, meaning people that want to become a Catholic. She was so devoted with her volunteer work.
Keating was a passenger on American Airlines Flight 11, which authorities say crashed into the North Tower just before 9 a.m. on September 11th, 2001. And 24 years later, her identification has been confirmed through family outreach and advanced DNA analysis, bringing out memories and emotions for so many of those who knew her.
It was just too close to home that something like that could happen to somebody that we knew so good that we were like a dream, a bad one.
Arthun tells me the day of the attacks, Barbara was on her way back to California after taking a vacation to the East Coast.
She really wasn't supposed to leave for like 2 or 3 days. And I think it was Boston she was at. She'd visit every year. And then they called and said, your daughter got in an accident and can you come and help with the kids? And she said, I'll catch the next plane. So that morning she went and see if she could get a ticket, and it was on 9/11, September 11th.
It was a church's deacon who was supposed to pick up Barbara when she landed. But Arthun says when she hadn't made any contact, that's when he started to worry.
He had the flight number, so when she hadn't called and then we heard all this, he got worried, and he said, wait a minute, I think that was her flight. So he had to go back and look. He realized that the flight was her flight that hit the first tower.
Immediately after, the church hosted a mass for the victims and those involved in 9/11, including Barbara.
We invited everybody, and we had a big turnout at the church.
What about family members? Did they fly in?
They did for her. Then we had the memorial service for her, so her children came. She had, I think, 2 sons and a daughter.
And that service is still honored and continues every year on 9/11. Tiani Jadalang, NBC Palm Springs.
Hundreds of local children in the foster care system are starting a new school year with someone in their corner. Antonio Marquez with that story.
The connection that volunteers for Voices for Children have with young people in the foster care system can make a difference in their lives, either now or in the future, making this opportunity a great one within the community. This year, thousands of children will be part of the foster care system in Riverside County. Many will face changes in their homes, schools, and carry a heavy emotional burden. That's where volunteers known as CASAs or court-appointed special advocates come in to make a difference.
Unfortunately, they don't always have a stable, consistent adult in their lives. They do get removed from their homes and placed in a completely different home that they have no relationship with.
Trained by the organization Voices for Children, CASA volunteers are assigned to a single child or a group of siblings at a time. They act as mentors, advocates, and may even have the legal right to make educational decisions.
CASA volunteers are always needed, so if you are interested in becoming a volunteer, please visit our website at speakupnow.org. You can go on the website and register for an information session where you will learn a lot more about our program, what we do, and we can help answer any questions you might have.
Their work can be the difference between failure and success for one of these young people, which is why bilingual volunteers and male volunteers like Robert Weska are needed. Robert has been a volunteer for 6 years.
It's very challenging, to be honest, but it's also very rewarding because you spend time with kids that have a lot of needs, and the growth is sometimes very slow and incremental. But when you see somebody make an advancement in their life that they're proud of, you can tell that that's going to make a contribution maybe for the rest of their life.
Remember to visit the volunteer website for more information on how you can make a difference in the life of one of these young people. Antonio Marquez, NBC Palm Springs.
Coming up next tonight, we have more local news for you. Living in fear, our conversation with a local farm worker whose life has been altered by recent ice activity. And then a bit later on, a Firebirds fan favorite saying farewell. Tim O'Brien has the details coming up in sports. First, we have a live look from our Indian Wells Golf Resort camera. Chloe's checking your forecast. That's a little bit later on. You're watching NBC Palm Springs at 11, and we're back right after this.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating, and we couldn't agree more. NBC Palm Springs News. Even astronauts tune in for their news fix. When it comes to top stories, we're on a whole new orbit. Committed to covering our community. You're watching NBC Palm Springs at 11.
Ice activity in the Coachella Valley has left many members of the immigrant community living in fear. NBC Palm Springs' Tommy Gallegos has tonight's story.
Nearly 2 months ago, a DEA-led operation conducted alongside other federal agencies in Thermal sent shockwaves through the Coachella Valley. Although officials insist it was not an immigration operation, the presence of ICE agents near local farms sparked fear among farm workers, many of whom have spent years laboring in these fields. One of them, a mother of 4, shared her experience with us on that day.
Guardar la calma. Our supervisors told us to stay calm, but that was impossible. We were desperately worried for our safety.
Overcome with panic, she fled to a friend's home, hiding in silence, terrified that she might never see her children again.
Muy injusta. Muy injusto porque hay muchos delincuentes. It is very unfair because there are many criminals walking our streets, but I just come here to work and make a living, just like many of my colleagues.
Now, weeks later, we met with her again, and she tells us that although some time has passed, the fear has not. Neither has the uncertainty.
We still live in fear because the laws and policies seem to change every day. We live in a constant state of the unknown.
Everyday moments, trips to the store, dropping the kids off at school, or going to church now feel risky for her husband, and her 4 children. And then, a break in the dark clouds. Just days ago, the family received the news they've been praying for. She was granted a work permit.
Estamos muy contentos porque we were very happy when the permit finally came in because it is very hard to get work anywhere if you don't have a work permit. And there are typically little job opportunities during the summer months here because the harvest season is over.
The excitement, however, is accompanied by worry, because despite the step forward, she and her husband have been unemployed for weeks, unsure where the next paycheck will come from.
Difícil porque ya tenemos un mes. It has been very difficult because a month has passed since our last job, and the very little money we had saved up has gone to food and rent. We just moved into a bigger home as well, and now without employment, it is becoming more difficult to maintain ourselves afloat financially.
Despite the fear of being deported, she and her husband are considering traveling across the state in hopes of looking for new employment opportunities, even if it means leaving the only place they feel safe.
We do grow desperate every day because it is all very complicated, and despite the fear and uncertainty, we still have to pay rent and our necessities in this country.
For NBC Palm Springs, I'm Tommy Gallegos.
On this Thursday evening, we're giving you a live look from our Agua Caliente casino camera in downtown Palm Springs. Chloe Carlson standing by with a very hot forecast. The details when we come back.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating, and we couldn't agree more. NBC Palm Springs News. Even astronauts tune in for their news fix. When it comes to top stories, we're on a whole new orbit.
All right, I have a gorgeous shot of the moon. It was shot earlier tonight, and guess what? It's going to get even better. Tomorrow and Saturday is what's called the sturgeon moon, or this month, August, full moon. It's called the sturgeon moon because it marks the time of year when sturgeon fish are most readily caught. Should be the fullest around 1 a.m. Saturday, so close to around this time tomorrow. It'll also come with 3 meteor showers, so look out for those, and you might be able to catch the sight of Venus as well as Jupiter. All right, should be exciting to see that stuff, right?
Yeah, and I love it. We have very dry conditions, so clear skies out there, so great view for that moon, that meteor shower, also called the Harvest Moon, which is a great video game, right? Did you ever play the Harvest Moon?
I missed that game, but
it's fine. It's a farming game.
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, put it on the list. Yeah. It's for those that, you know, grew up on a farm like myself. We got really into playing the farm games. So Harvest Moon, there you go. Here's a live look at the Walter Clark Highway 11 cam in Rancho Mirage. Quite a few people there, so on the 111 making their way home at this hour. Calm winds there as we do a gradual fade to the almanac. 119 for the high today. So I mentioned this earlier. We did break the previous record of 118 back from 1995. A very hot day indeed. 108 is normal for us as we wrap up the first week or so of August. At this hour, very hot still at this hour. Not seeing a lot of overnight relief with these temperatures, with it being so hot. So overnight will stay mostly in the mid to high 80s for the desert floor. Tomorrow morning, if you're still wanting to get out and get some exercise, my suggestion to you would be to start very early. Go to the surf club. You can go any time of the day. Stay cool in the water. 89 degrees at 6 o'clock tomorrow, 94 by 8 o'clock, and then we are triple digits by 10 a.m. So just keep those numbers in mind. If you're going golfing tomorrow, you have a tee time at 9 o'clock, just keep these numbers in mind. Make sure you are staying hydrated, have some water, find the shade out there. I will say if you are golfing tomorrow, light winds for the most part, breezy here on the desert floor as well as the high desert. We'll see those winds pick up a little bit in the afternoon, evening hours for the usual suspects, Desert Hot Springs in the wind corridor. Surface moisture will be moving up a little bit as we get into the weekend. We have the placement of that high pressure system kind of shifting a little bit over the course of the next couple of days. Because of that, it will drop a little bit of that moisture, so it'll feel a little bit more humid as we kick off the weekend. So for Friday, for tomorrow, we made it. We're almost there. That center will be to the south of us. Similarly, as we get into Saturday, it'll just shift a little bit to the west. Here's a look at your Comfort Air 7-day forecast. 114 for Friday. We back off on temperatures, but we are staying above 110 degrees through Thursday next week.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating, and we couldn't agree more. The NBC Palm Springs Sports Desk with Tim O'Brien. Brought to you by Agua Caliente Casinos.
Oh, welcome back. The Firebirds continue to fill the roster ahead of the 25-26 season, which, remember, October 10th is opening night. But forward Landon McCallum has re-signed today on a one-year AHL deal. The 21-year-old from Ontario played in 65 games last season for the Kansas City Mavericks. That's the ECHL team for the Kraken and the Firebirds. He had 15 goals, 24 assists. That's all good for 39 points. The second-year player now looks to crack the lineup here in the Coachella Valley. Remember, the Birds return to the nest at the end of September for training camp. First day of camp is the same night Paul McCartney comes to the arena, September 29th, so remember that date. Sticking with the Firebirds, all good things, though, must come to an end. After 3 seasons here in the Valley, forward Luke Henman moving on, an original Firebird. In fact, he was the first Firebird. Kraken signed Luke Henman, and he was the first player assigned here to the Valley. He's going to head to Finland after finishing his career in the Valley with 20 goals and 25 assists, a few playoff goals as well in 3 seasons. Henman scored 2 of the 3 teddy bear toss goals that sent Acrisure Arena into a frenzy. So it'll be interesting to see who lights the lamp on teddy bear toss night this December. We'll have more on that as we get closer to it as well on the theme nights, but we, of course, wish Henny all the best. And beginning on Monday, well, we're going to get in our bus and we're going to drive around the Coachella Valley. We have a bus here at NBC Palm Springs. I'm just kidding. We're going to go around the valley and look at the best players and coaches here on the gridiron. There's 14 teams, 3 leagues. Now, it's the final year of the 3 leagues. They're all going to play for a spot in a larger league next season, especially some of the DEL teams. The Desert Empire teams are going to be the higher seeds based off of population of the school and attendance, but keep an eye on that as well. Most teams will make the playoffs beginning in 2026. This season will feature 16 non-league games between Valley schools. Of course, you can catch all that again on NBCPalmSprings.com. That'll do it in sports. I'm Tim O'Brien.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating, and we couldn't agree more. NBC Palm Springs News. Even astronauts tune in for their news fix. When it comes to top stories, we're on a whole new orbit.
In the heart of the
And now the Agua Caliente Entertainment Report, brought to you by Agua Caliente Casinos.
Our Manny the Movie Guy says it's going to be a great weekend to go see a movie or check out what's on streaming. Here's what's new from Hollywood.
Change the hearts you know are wrong.
Freaky Friday just got freakier. This time, Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis swap bodies with a younger cast. Lohan with her daughter Harper, and Curtis with her soon-to-be step-granddaughter. 23 years after the first film, the magic is still here. Big credit goes to the cast. They elevate this sometimes silly, oftentimes heartfelt sequel. This one's not just freakier, it's also funnier, and you'll even learn a thing or two about family and empathy.
Oh, girls, that doesn't work. Ow!
I think I just peed a little. And for that, Freakier Friday gets 3 out of 4 Get Your Freak On kisses. Also out in theaters, Weapons.
But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty.
The premise is like a true crime drama.
You know why?
17 children disappeared into the night.
And they never came back.
It takes bigger risks.
Barbarian director Zach Kreger returns with a smart horror flick that is like a twisted fairy tale with Hansel and Gretel and the Pied Piper thrown in.
very sorry.
Separated into vignettes, each chapter is told from a character's perspective, making it clearer and scarier along the way.
We're talking about 17 kids.
Josh Brolin as the father of one of the missing children, and Julia Gardner as the teacher with missing students lead a stellar cast.
Very, very wrong.
Without revealing too much, the bittersweet ending depends on how you deal with grief. And for that, Weapons gets 3.5 out of 4. Where Are the Children? Kisses. And finally on Netflix, Wednesday returns. It's as wickedly, woefully wonderful as ever. I love it.
Thank you very much.
This time, Wednesday and her Addams family must return to Nevermore Academy, facing a new mystery and a much bigger drama.
How do you hear me?
The characters are explored further in here, with the rift between Morticia and Wednesday getting bigger.
I know what those tears mean.
And the performances have never been better. It's always a delight seeing our hometown girl, Jenna Ortega, in the title role, sparring with pretty much everyone.
Secrets are the bedrock.
If I have one minor complaint, Netflix only gave us 4 episodes for part 1. We have to wait until September 3rd to see the rest. But I can wait.
I see you back in Palm Springs.
Yeah, I'll see you in the desert.
And for that, Wednesday Season 2 gets the perfect 4 out of 4 creepy and kooky kisses. I'm Manny the Movie Guy for NBC Palm Springs.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely.
All right, just about made it to Friday.
We are almost there. I know. It's going to be a good weekend. A little hot, but.
All right, we'll be right back here tomorrow night. Hope to see you then. Good night, everybody.